through news from India and across the globe. Let me start with our top story on the day tonight. A very tragic story coming in from Karnataka that's really shaken the state. A 5-year-old girl murdered. She was strangulated, raped before that, and left in an abandoned locked room. The man who did the crime has been killed in an encounter. Taking you through those details, and then in our deep dive segment, Australia banning Indian students from 5 states of India because they claim that they're involved in visa fraud. Details on that story. And finally, our viral watch. We saw Karan Johar's response to General Dyer's granddaughter. Let me take you through exactly what that story is, but as always, the headlines first. Belgium confirms arrest of PNB loan accused Mehul Choksi. India seeks extradition of the fugitive businessman. It seems like we're one step closer to nabbing him. Big revelation in Murshidabad riots case. Intel's reports suggest SDPI influenced youth to instigate violence. Several other findings in the Intel report that's now been screened by Prime Minister Modi attacks the Congress over misuse of Waqf, says Muslim youth would not have to fix punchers had the earlier law been effective enough. Man accused of murdering a 5-year-old girl in Karnataka's Hubli killed in police encounter. The Home Minister Parmeshwara orders a probe, 10 lakhs ex gratia given to the deceased family. But the real question, if such safe spaces are vulnerable. Truck owners in Karnataka begin an indefinite hunger strike now against fuel price rise and also the toll charge hike. They say that they will completely stop all kinds of transport if at all the government does not come to a conclusion and pays heed to their demands. Pawan Kalyan's wife, Anna, shaves her head in Tirumala Tirupati temple as her son returns to Hyderabad after the school fire in Singapore. In fact, she signs declaration of the religion itself to be permitted into the Tirumala Tirupati temple, and then you have her head tonsured. She in fact does this in line with tradition at the temple. Thousands of people arrived at the Diksha Bhumi in Nagpur to pay tributes to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on his 134th birth anniversary. News coming in from Karnataka on a 29-year-old man, Santosh, who was accused of molesting a woman in Bengaluru, has been arrested, and that in a remote village of Kerala. The man has been absconding for nearly 10 days. Kudos to the Karnataka police for nabbing him. Despite sketchy CCTV footage, they managed to track him down. Actor Salman Khan gets another threat. WhatsApp message says that his car would be blown up. A case has now been registered against an unidentified person on the case. In fact, Salman Khan also has sought for Y+ security now. All right, let me start with our top story. I want to start with this story here because it's important. This isn't just a crime report, it's a chilling reminder of how unsafe even the most protected environments can be. A 5-year-old girl playing inside the safety of her building compound in Adhyapak Nagar, Hubli. The gates were locked, her mother was working nearby, and then a stranger appears from nowhere, walks straight up to her, strikes a conversation with that girl through the bars of the gate. You see the man walking right there in the visuals. He tries to chat up with that girl. He seems quite smooth, calm, gains her attention, offers her some chocolates, we hear. We don't know what he's managed to tell her, but it was enough for that innocent girl to go with him. Footage there shows how he quickly lifts her tiny, fragile frame and vanishes. He speaks to her and then gets her to the other side of the compound, picks her up and moves away. That's the young girl there on our screens. Terribly, terribly tragic. The parents, of course, at this point grieving. Now, hours later, this girl was found dead. And we hear she was raped, strangulated, thrown into a locked, abandoned room. In fact, the accused is said to be 35-year-old Hitesh Kumar from Patna. He moved to Hubli just 2 months ago and was living near the Tarihal bridge. We know that the cops have done everything to nab him down. While they launched a manhunt, they managed to actually catch him based on CCTV footage. But when they moved in, he allegedly turned violent, threw stones at the officers while being taken to his place for ID verification. And when he tried to target the cops, they shot him. They killed him in an encounter. Let's take you through what the police has to say.
There was an incident wherein about 4 to 5 year old baby girl body was found in an abandoned shed, and upon verification and CCTV footage verification, and also on the basis of information given by the localites, the baby was searched and the body was found in that abandoned shed. Along with the locals, our police have also tried to trace the fellow, and finally the accused was traced, and in the interrogation he has confessed to have committed this offence. He disclosed his identity as Hitesh Kumar, 35 years old.
Now, Karnataka Home Minister G. Parmeshwara has ordered an inquiry into the encounter, assuring transparency and due process.
A 5-year-old child has been kidnapped by a person who happens to be from Bihar, and has killed that little girl. And he was taken to the place he had done this ghastly incident. At that point of time, he tried to, attack the police. To safeguard themselves, naturally, police has fired to his leg and also to his body somewhere, and he has died. Now I have ordered for an investigation. Let the report, come.
The Karnataka government has announced 10 lakhs as compensation for the child's family. But remember, no compensation here can fix the mother's shattered world. Nonetheless, the government has offered it.
The accused was so very aggressive. He tried to, make an attempt, especially assault on the police department. Likewise, for safety, there is a procedure under law, so they have taken action, and it's been shot dead. It's been encountered, you can say. It's more of awareness has to be there, because when child is there, when your child is there, our child is there, or when we see somebody's child, we should be all, as a society, we should be all very agile and looking at it. But when these things happen, we speak, and we forget. We don't want to forget, but as a police department, as a department, whichever government, whichever state, this things is a more of a social issue which we need to really seriously look into.
Well, no amount of compensation here can really replace the child. The mother is, of course, in a terrible state. Imagine she let her little girl play behind a locked gate, believing that her daughter is safe. But clearly a predator was watching, and in moments the child's laughter was stolen. Hubli is mourning, Karnataka shaken to the core. Now, taking you through the caste census survey report that's really led to a lot of confusion within the Congress party itself in Karnataka. Karnataka's ruling Congress, the same party that pushed hard for a caste-based survey, is now facing rebellion from within. Ministers and MLAs are raising red flags over the very data that their government had commissioned. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, in a damage control mode, he's now come out to try and explain to his own party people about his own party's move. He's basically conveyed a message to his colleagues, to several leaders who believe that their communities have been undercounted and that numbers simply don't add up, as part of that fresh caste survey that they've provided to them. So, of course, cabinet tensions now brewing on this. Backward Classes Welfare Minister Shivraj Tangadaddi has raised the issue in the cabinet as well, triggering a scramble to placate lawmakers. Of course, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, trying to convince them, has now promised that all of them will have a thorough explanation about what the caste survey means. He says that he will give each one of the leaders a CD which will have exactly the composition of the caste survey as part of the CD for them to understand. The CM has now ordered constituency-wise caste data to be handed over to every leader of the Congress in the state. If the current caste survey is implemented, then there's big quota shake-up that's incoming. The caste census panel has recommended a dramatic jump, taking OBC quota from 32% to 51%, doubling the Muslim quota to 8%, which earlier was 4%. If implemented, Karnataka's reservation cap will shoot up to 85%. Remember, the reservation cap itself is 50%. But we know there are several other states who've already shot up the quota gap. In fact, the cap itself has been breached by a few other states in the past. Karnataka seems to be following line. But BJP isn't buying this. This caste survey itself, the opposition in Karnataka calls it unscientific. And now with ministers doubting the same within the Congress, the party itself finds itself in a tight spot, defending a report that's shaking up both the caste balance and party's internal unity.
The Congress party is committed on the values because Congress party gave up the constitution. We gave the constitution this country to the leadership of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. It is our bound duty, and we all are celebrated. We have given Congress government in the all India level. Whenever the government has given, it has protected the values and constitution. Our leader, the day one, is fighting for the sake to protect the constitution from every section of the society. So we'll take it up, we'll continue to it.
Meanwhile, Telangana seems to be the first to roll out SC categorization, but Madigas are not very happy. In a first for India, the Revanth Reddy-led Congress government in Telangana has formally implemented sub-categorization within the scheduled castes, a long-standing demand aimed at ensuring distribution of reservation benefits. Now, as per the government order, based on a judicial panel's recommendation, Group 1, 15 sub-castes, they'll have 3.29% of, that basically comprises of 3.29% of SC population and 1% reservation to them. Group 2, 18 subcastes, including Madigas, which has about 62.75% of the population in the state, they get 9% reservation. And Group 3, which is 26 subcastes, has a population of 33.96%, they get 5% reservation. The move was in fact meant to appease the Madiga community, but it seems to have backfired. Despite being the largest SC group in Telangana, over 62% of the SC population there, the Madigas are now upset with being grouped under moderately benefited castes. And they're basically upset that they're being just allotted 9% of the 15% SC quota. They're demanding at least 11%, saying that the new allocation does not reflect their true population share itself.
Telangana is the first state which announced in the assembly that we will not do any further job notification or filling up of job vacancies till we finish the categorization. So we went through an elaborate process. I am the cabinet subcommittee chairman. We also appointed a retired High Court judge as a one-man judicial commission. We went through a very meticulous, systematic, legally valid process, and we completed it. And today we have issued the necessary orders, and the law will be enforced from today in Telangana, where all further issues in employment and education will be done as per SCA categorization.
Now, the Congress government hoped to win Dalit support with this landmark order, but for now it seems like the Madiga community itself is upset, and their backlash has become the bigger headline for the state. Now we're looking at communal tensions that's brewing in West Bengal, this time over the Waqf amendment. This comes nearly 5 years after the CAA protests that rocked the country. Waqf has emerged as the new national fault line. West Bengal is witnessing the fiercest flashpoint yet. Murshidabad remains under lockdown like security. 3 people are dead, 15 policemen injured, over 150 arrested after protests spiraled into riots across Jangipur, Suti and Samsherganj. In fact, central forces had to be rushed in. 17 companies, including the BSF and the CRPF, now patrolling the streets. A mass exodus is underway. Hindu families whose homes were torched are fleeing across the Ganga in boats, seeking shelter in Malda's Vaisnab Nagar. In fact, in Kolkata, Indian Secular Front supporters were blocked from holding a rally against the Waqf Act. In Bangar, they blocked the Basanti Express in protest. Fear is still running high. Women, children, the elderly fleeing Dhulian, one of the worst hit zones. BSF is patrolling sensitive areas. Officials say that miscreants tried to overpower the Jawans but were pushed back. Explosive intel reports now hint at a deeper plot. State agencies blame SDPI for inciting youth in Dhulian. A separate BSF report flags cross-border sleeper cells allegedly activated by the Jamaat operatives. The All India Muslim Personal Law Board, meanwhile, has appealed for calm, condemning the violence, urging restraint and seeking 25 lakh compensation for the victims' families. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is now reaching out directly. She's meeting some imams and clerics, and that's going to happen in the next 24 hours. She's assured she will personally convey to them that Bengal will not implement the amended Waqf law. Politics, of course, continues to sharpen there. BJP is demanding AFSPA in border districts, accusing Mamata Banerjee of appeasement. TMC has fired, responding to these allegations, blaming the BSF and the centre for allowing cross-border infiltration and also pointing fingers at the BJP for trying to instigate, in their words, the crowds. Governor Bose says the centre and the state are in sync, forces are firmly in control, but the heat on the ground says otherwise. BSF's ADG Eastern Command, Ravi Gandhi, has now landed for a two-day ground review of the war, heavily polarized, once again at the centre of a communal storm.
No, the situation is now coming back to normalcy, and BSF since last Friday we have been collaborating with the local police and doing required to bring back the normalcy. Now the CRPF have also come, so I am very sure that the situation is getting back to normal, and we are working very collaboratively with the local police and other sister agencies.
আমি আবার বলি, ধর্ম যার যার আপনার, উৎসব কিন্তু সবার। আমরা সবাই সব উৎসবে মিলিত হই। কেন হই? তার কারণ কবিগুরু রবীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুরের গান, সবারই করি আহ্বান, এসো উৎসুক চিত্ত, এসো আনন্দিত প্রাণ। লাস্টের দিকে বলেছেন, সুন্দরেরই পাদপীঠ তলে, যেখানে কল্যাণ দীপ জ্বালে, সেটা হোক স্থান, সবারই করি আহ্বান। আমরা সব জায়গাতেই যাই।
सिचुएशन बहुत ही टेंस है, बहुत ही खराब है। अभी भी केंद्रीय वाहिनी को बहुत दिनों तक यहाँ पे रखने से ही कुछ अच्छा हो सकता है, इससे अच्छा नहीं तो अभी परिस्थिति ऐसा नहीं है कि केंद्रीय वाहिनी को यहाँ से हटाया जाए। तो मैं स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को अनुरोध करूंगा कि आप इनिशिएटिव लीजिए, आप केंद्र से बोलिए कि आप केंद्रीय वाहिनी यहाँ पे सीआरपीएफ तैनाती हो, और सीआरपीएफ जब तक परिस्थिति स्वाभाविक ना हो तब तक पूरी ओज केंद्रीय वाहिनी यहाँ पे रहे।
पूरा बंगाल 16 को हिंदू शहीद दिवस मनाएगा। बंगाल में घर में घुस के पिता और लड़का को जिस तरीके से काटा है लोग चाकू से, उसका खिलाफ बंगाल का हिंदू बांटने वाला नहीं है। हिंदू शहीद दिवस पूरा प्रदेश में मनाया जाएगा 16 को।
The ground zero where such incidents took place, violence took place, people were killed, police were not present. Despite repeated requests from the villagers, for 4 to 5 hours police allowed the rioters to do this mayhem. And this is the sign in entire villages there. Destruction, burning, looting, but there's no police, not even fire brigade. The villagers, they themselves doused the fire. Now the first question is, why police did not come? And police minister must have to answer it.
Now, as Waqf protests escalates across many different parts of the country, including Telangana, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Assam, many other parts of the country, you have opposition leaders coming together to veto the Waqf Amendment Act, reaching out to the Supreme Court. One legal petition at a time. Actor turned politician Vijay has joined the chorus, moving the Supreme Court now against the controversial Waqf Act. The TVK chief becomes the latest voice now to challenge what many call discriminatory move against the Muslim community. From the AIMIM's Asauddin Owaisi to Congress MPs Muhammad Javed and Imran Pratapkari, from AAP's Amanatullah Khan to Azad Samaj Party's Chandrasekhar Azad, several political leaders now in court who filed petitions arguing that the amended law violates fundamental rights. The Supreme Court is expected to club all petitions and begin hearings soon.
Any opposition to the Waqf Act is welcome. It sends a clear message to the Union government that this kind of acts, this kind of legislations which trample upon the rights of the minorities, which is guaranteed by the Constitution, is not welcome. And I think TVK, they are following the footsteps of the DMK. They are taking the blueprint from what the Chief Minister has announced in the Assembly. Hope they will follow it up through and through and give a tough opposition.
And I hope that Mr. Vijay finds a good senior lawyer in Delhi in Supreme Court, and they argue well also, because Congress party has already moved into it. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is also going to fight that case. Therefore, we all should fight against this injustice, the attack on the Constitution.
Now, we're looking at Tamil Nadu governor sparking a row after he chanted Jai Shri Ram at a college event, a valedictory event in a Madurai college, where Tamil Nadu governor R.N. Ravi triggered controversy by signing off after his long speech with a loud Jai Shri Ram chant. While addressing students, he praised poet Kambar's portrayal of Sita for upholding a woman's dignity, unlike, in his words, many present-day ministers. In what was clearly a swipe at Tamil Nadu Minister Ponmudi, the governor accused him of disrespecting both women and Hindu sentiments.
Students of the schools and colleges have enthusiastically taken part, which recently we held. And on this day, let us pay tribute to Kambar by paying tribute to the one who was a great devotee of Prabhu Sri Ram. I say and you say, Jai Sri Ram! 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 Jai Sri Ram!
So it wasn't just his words, right? It was the chant that followed that's now triggered into a political storm. It was certainly what he said, a politically loaded signal, a message, especially inside a public educational institution. He would have and should have expected backlash. The ruling DMK did not hold back. Party spokesperson Dharnidharan tore into R.N. Ravi, calling him an RSS mouthpiece who has repeatedly defied constitutional norms. Let's take a look as to what he said. Why hasn't R.N. Ravi resigned yet? The Supreme Court has already shown him his place. Now, Congress MLA Asan Maulana too accused the governor of behaving more like a religious preacher than a constitutional head. Let's take you through his reaction.
One of the highest posts in this country, and he is speaking like an religious leader, by itself is bringing a trouble to this nation. See, India has got diverse religion, diverse language, diverse communities, and Mr. Governor keeps telling children, chant Jai Shri Ram. It is already promoting inequality. It's already promoting some religious ideology, which the Honorable Governor should not have done.
Imagine if there is a governor from Muslim community and he goes to a college function and asks the students to chant Allahu Akbar. What kind of a furor it would have created. See, you go to a religious congregation, you do whatever you want. Nobody is going to question you. But in a college where the students, we will have students from every faith, every community living there, and just trying to chant one slogan. This is flexing the majoritarian muscle. And that doesn't augur well for our democracy and the secular fabric of our country.
Now, this fresh flashpoint comes barely days after the Supreme Court called the governor's withholding of assembly-passed bills is unconstitutional. For some entrusted with upholding the constitution, clearly here, blurring the lines between faith and governance at a student forum raises a lot many more questions than what it answers. Now, a powerful moment in Kerala's Kasaragod that really defies all the archaic norms that really exposed caste system. It seems like a move now that's really hailed in Kerala. After centuries, tradition has given way to a new chapter. For the first time ever, the inner sanctum of the Pilikode Raya Ramanagaram temple in Kerala was open to devotees of all castes. On Sunday morning, 16 people from different communities entered the Nalam Balam, a space that was once reserved only for Brahmins, Marars and Bariyars. Others were usually allowed in just festival times or any special occasion. But many years later, after much of the fight and campaign by reformist groups and cultural outfits, the temple finally opens up its doors. In fact, it marks a major shift in access inequality. Temple's executive officer confirmed that no purification rituals would be performed after the entry, though the management is now planning legal action to prevent any unauthorized access. But at least the move has opened up doors to a place which was once reserved for only the upper caste, showing a maturity of the temple trust and how far we've come. The Janakya Samiti, which led this movement, says this is just the beginning, not a one-off incident. So basically, this is a bold new step forward towards equal worship, and this will continue. A rare moment indeed, where Kerala deeply holds traditions, and at this point, it seems like they've walked a long way to reform their own inner sanctum sanctorium. Now, finally, years later, it seems like India is almost that close to nab Mehul Choksi. Is the years-long wait finally ended? Is India one step closer to bringing Mehul Choksi back? How long will that really take? In a major breakthrough now, absconding businessman wanted in the PMB loan fraud case has been arrested in Belgium at the request of the Central Bureau of Investigation. In fact, he remains in jail currently. Sources have confirmed the Belgian Federal Public Service of Justice has also that Indian authorities have filed a formal extradition request. So basically, the country has accepted that India is looking out for him, wants his custody at the earliest. They want him to be extradited. Choksi was reportedly living in Antwerp with his wife, Preeti Choksi, after securing an F residency card in Belgium. The arrest marks a significant moment in India's years-long pursuit to bring Choksi to justice after he fled the country in 2018 following one of the biggest bank scams in Indian history.
It's a really great news. We are very glad, particularly not only for India and for all those who got cheated by Mehul Choksi in India. It's unbelievable and how he got caught in Belgium. So it's very important now to not only get him back to India, but also it's most important is to get back the money he looted. Ultimately, that is what India needs, apart from getting Mehul Choksi back home. So I hope the government of India has identified where he stashed away his money and it will be brought back to India.
देखिए, मोदी जी ने जो पहले ही कहा कि गरीबों का पैसा जिन जिन लोगों ने खाया है उसको वापस करना होगा और देश में सभी के खिलाफ कार्रवाई चल रहा है। मेहुल चोक्सी पकड़ा गया है, निश्चित तौर से बहुत बड़ी सफलता।
Now, Mehul Choksi, along with his nephew, Nirav Modi, is accused of defrauding Punjab National Bank of over 14,000 crores, triggering massive political and financial firestorm. The legal battle is, of course, far from over. Choksi's legal team now has already indicated that he will be filing for bail and will oppose extradition, naturally, citing health medical grounds. His lawyers claim that he's currently undergoing cancer treatment and is unfit to travel.
My client Mehul Choksi has been arrested in Belgium and at the moment he is in custody and will be starting the process of filing an appeal against this, and then as a process of appeal we'll be requesting that he should be pulled out of the prison, and the major ground is that because of the ill health and he's undergoing cancer treatment, and of course he's not a flight risk at all. So then by the Dominican court order, my client was getting his treatment in Antigua, but everyone knows that in Antigua the medical facilities are not all that good, so for his medical treatment he had to go to Belgium.
All right, Saudi Arabia now cuts down nearly 80% of quota for Indians performing Hajj, a huge blow to at least 52,000 Indian pilgrims who are now left in a limbo. In quite a sudden move there that Saudi Arabia has now announced to cut India's private Hajj quota by a staggering 80%, cancelling the MENA zone allocations allotted to private tour operators, and that too just weeks before people's departure. Remember, many of the pilgrims have already paid for their Hajj and they are waiting to go on this once-in-a-lifetime journey. They are now left with questions that are unanswered. Whether they get to go or not, that's a question that looms. Government has arranged Hajj via the Hajj committee. Those government-organized Hajj visits are not going to be affected. They remain intact. But those who have actually booked it through private operators now face uncertainty. Leaders like Mehbooba Mufti, Omar Abdullah have all urged the Ministry of External Affairs to intervene urgently, open diplomatic talks with Riyadh and get this sorted. Remember, this is Hajj season. Saudi officials claim that the move is part of a strict crowd control measure that was deployed by the government. In fact, this comes in light of many stampede cases that have happened in the past. But as much as this is a crowd control measure, there are several whispers claiming that private operators from India, many of them, delayed payments. And that's the reason why Saudi Arabian government now has decided to cut out 80% of private Hajj quota from India. The warning signs aren't new, of course. Overcrowding during Hajj has had some deadly consequences. Remember the 2015 MENA stampede. It killed 2,400 people, the deadliest disaster in Hajj history. More recently is the 2024, just a year ago, where 1,300 pilgrims died from extreme heat, of course, overcrowding as well. Safety and crowd management are now more than logistical challenges, and it seems like the Saudi government taking strict action. There's some big churn that's expected in Hungary. Lawmakers prepare to vote on a deeply divisive constitutional amendment pushed by the Prime Minister Viktor Orban's Fidesz party, and proposed amendment in drawing global outrage. Critics say it targets basic freedom and is yet another blow to LGBTQ rights in Hungary. Now, if at all this law is passed, Budapest Pride, with all public LGBTQ events permanently banned, trans and intersex rights could be fully erased, as the law redefines sex strictly as male or female assigned at birth. Citizenship could be revoked for those branded a threat to national security or sovereignty. In fact, anybody batting for LGBTQ rights could see the door. Orban's camp now claims this is about protecting their children and Hungary's national interests. But human rights groups, the UN and the opposition parties there in Hungary argue that this is a dangerous move and steps towards authoritarianism, silencing dissent and vilifying minorities. This is the aim, is what the opposition says. With Fidesz now holding a 2/3 majority, the amendment is very likely to sail through, despite fierce resistance on ground. Now, a chilling assassination plot on Donald Trump has been exposed, and that too involved here is a 17-year-old who's accused of murdering his own parents as a larger conspiracy and a plot to kill Donald Trump finally. Federal documents unsealed this week reveal shocking details. This boy here, Nikita Kasap, allegedly killed his mother and his stepfather, all to steal money from them and then execute a major terror plot to assassinate Donald Trump. Investigators have uncovered a disturbing manifesto, extremist content, messages plotting bombings and drone attacks. Nikita Kasap was later found, he was in fact nabbed in Kansas, found driving a stolen SUV packed with cash and jewelry and a revolver and bomb-making material. Authorities say that he was affiliated with a neo-Nazi group and has been in contact with Russian national, and they're trying to see if there is a larger conspiracy. But here's a boy, a 17-year-old who's killed his own parents. Now, there's no reason really given there, but his aim basically, as per investigators, was to finally take that money from his family and hatch a larger plot to kill Donald Trump. He now faces a slew of state and federal charges, including conspiracy to assassinate a US president and possession of weapons of mass destruction. All right, on that note, I'm going to slip into a short break. We'll be right back on the other side of our deep dive segment, taking you through news on how Australia has now banned student visas to students from 5 states of India. Which are those 5 states? Stay with us on the other side.
Smash your way to glory at the News9 Corporate Badminton Championship. Get ready for the ultimate badminton showdown. News9 presents the biggest corporate championship, a battle of skill, speed and supremacy. Cash prize of 6 lakh rupees across categories. Venue, Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy, Hyderabad. Dates, May 9th to May 11th. A chance to showcase your talent and make a mark. The court is set. Are you ready? Register now.
On my dear cool. ये एयर कंडीशनर नहीं, AI कंडीशनर है.
In the age of OTT platforms, to watch or not to watch, that's the question. Because you are what you watch. It's our review, but your choice to skip it or stream it. Hello and welcome. I'm Krishna Kumar. This is Skip It, Stream It.
Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves, World Audio-Visual and Entertainment Summit. Connecting creators through Creative Sphere. Wave Accelerator. Waves Bazaar.
Where stories, ideas and content go global.
Connecting countries through global media dialogue and Bharat Pavilion.
Shaping narratives and partnerships. Culture, cinema, gaming. Waves fuels the next wave of entertainment.
Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
Welcome back. Indian students now being banned in Australia. That's the latest news now that's gripped the country. Of course, many of them disappointed who applied in Australia. A major setback for thousands of Indian students. In Australia, multiple universities have now blacklisted applicants from 5 states: Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Gujarat. Well, the reason being allegations of document fraud and visa misuse and students abandoning studies to take up full-time work. These are the allegations against them. Some even switched to cheaper vocational courses allegedly, all seen as attempts to game the system. This comes just as Indian students were shifting focus to Australia, especially after tighter scrutiny in the United States. But now it seems like the visa rejection rate itself for Indian nationals has spiked to almost 24.3%, the highest in over a decade. Federation University, Western Sydney University and many others among those who've hit this pause on admissions from these states. The result being at least a 48% drop in student visas granted to Indians between December 2022 and 23. The Association of Australian Education Representatives in India has slammed this move, calling it discriminatory and demands a fair case-by-case assessment. The question, of course, here is why only these 5 states? Are all students from Punjab or UP fraudsters? Or is this just lazy profiling that hurts genuine aspirants? Joining me for a little more is Deepak Vora, former Indian diplomat. We also have Ravi Lathumala, who's a consultant, US College Admissions, Dallas, Texas. Thank you very much, the two of you. Sir Deepak Vora, a question to you on why do you think this is happening? Are we seeing a broader global trend of hostility towards Indian student migrants? Because we saw first in the UK, then US, now Australia. Seems like a coordinated clampdown.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on your amazing channel, and I learned so much when I listened to you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
outstanding. You're brilliant. Now, the question is, why is this happening to us? I don't think it's anything to do with any kind of innate racist approach towards Indian students. What is really happening to my mind is that students from Punjab and Haryana and the other states, Gujarat, etc., that you mentioned, have over a period of time acquired a reputation that these fellows go off and then plan not to return. The question I'm often asked is that the United States population, the entire population, 340 million, we have 340 million students in India, 60,000 colleges and universities. Don't we have enough places where we can absorb these people? Of course we can. But they are going there because they look for a better lifestyle, and they find that getting a student visa then becomes a stepping stone to permanent residency. Some get jobs, others get married, etc., etc. So it's not really focusing only on Indian students. They're doing the same with students from other Asian countries. I believe Chinese are also at the receiving and in much larger numbers. The idea is that they're just uncomfortable with so many people violating what they perceive to be their laws. It's a white Australia policy they've had for a long time. They would like to keep it that way. Normally what happens, ma'am, in my experience, I've been ambassador in 6 countries.
Yeah.
When a country's economy tanks and unemployment rises, then the alien is the first guy to be blamed and told to get lost. This doesn't seem to be happening. But the Australian economy is booming. Unemployment is very, very low. So it's just, I think it just has to be the fact that they want to keep their system as clean as possible. And they're hitting these private agents. I don't know if you've ever traveled to Punjab or to Haryana. Every second home and the second floor of every home is a, as they say, what do they call it? IELTS, or the IELTS as it is, the international English language. Everybody there is crazy about it. Because you know, ma'am, as well as I do, that in Australia and Canada, there's gold lying on the streets to be picked up and brought back. And that kind of story which is peddled by our educational fellows.
So you don't see
that
this,
is what misleads me.
Ambassador, you don't see this as a cover for tightening immigration?
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. I mean, as far as Australia is concerned, they never quite abandoned their white Australia policy. I've seen this happen. You remember the time at the beginning of this century, they used to go around beating up Indian students, and then we had to intervene. Several died. We had to protest very strongly against it. So this kind of policy is going to continue, which is why the Chinese and the Indians and other South Asians are being targeted. People should be, I just believe that our students should be aware of what they're getting into. The feeling always is कि भाई मेरा भाई चला गया तो मैं भी चला जाऊं. It'll be fine. There's nothing. It happens to other people. It won't happen to me. It is deeply regrettable, but the reputation that some people have acquired is going to haunt them for a long time, and then that reputation gets transferred to the states.
You know, sir, if I could get your expert opinion on how genuine students can protect themselves from being lumped with these fraudulent applicants. What, in your view, is the right documentation or verification to undergo to ensure that their case is strengthened? If you can take us through, sir.
So, ma'am, first and foremost, about 12 days ago, there was a ban from Trump administration for international students. The reason being, many students have been caught because of their DUI issues. What is DUI issues? Drunken driving, stolen thefts, and previously they had some kind of a misdemeanors or small issues. That is the reason why they were being caught, and then their service, which is related to the school systems, and also the visas, which is Department of State relates to the Department of State, both have been revoked, so that the student is obligated to leave the United States. There are a couple of options, legal options, that they can stay back. But before we venture into those kind of options, I would like to enlighten that from last 2018 and 2017 onwards have been telling time and again that students coming from some of the states from India, they are trying to skim the system, they are trying to take advantage of the system, they are trying to mold the system, and they want to settle down in the United States, which is a good idea. Settling down in the United States is a good idea for a better life. But what they are not aware of is, number one, they are not aware about the rules. Number two, how to survive, sustain and excel in this ecosystem is a big challenge that they did not understand. If you say that consultants can be blamed, I can say that easy way to target is consultant can be blamed. But if you look into the other side, consultants will not have any exposure about the rules and regulations of the US country. All that they know is what are the eligibility requirements of a university, and then they are looking into it, and then certain students who fit the criteria, they are getting admitted. But if you have seen practically, to tell the truth, nail down the exact thing, many students, as Deepak ji said, many students have violated what basic things called, they have done fraud TOEFL, fraud IELTS, fraud GRE, fraud bank statements, fraud any of these things. And many of these things they are just trying to skip the system. They are coming to good universities, and at the same point of time, they are transferring from good universities to ordinary universities that accept GPS less than 3.0. That means good schools do not accept anything less than 3.0 GPA, and they have to study, and they have to go to college every week. When we came to US as a student about 30 years ago, we went to school 3 times in a week. Now it is more than like a once in a month, once in a semester or 2 times in a semester, that too on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Students are flying out, flying in, and then they are sleeping in the class. So if this is thing happening,
if the words that you speak, I believe this is well deserved. If students aren't serious, if this is their aim and motivation is to skip from college, get into other ways of earning money, not committed in the syllabus that they've committed to, then might as well face the crackdown. But for the genuine ones, Mr. Ravi, for the genuine ones, what would be a word of advice?
Beautiful question. For the genuine ones, they should be very, very, very happy that now, because of all these things, the system is getting scrutinized. The system will be all the good schools, all the schools that are focusing on education, where students are interested in pursuing the education, learn from the system, learn from internships and all those things. They need not have to worry at all, and everything is very good. For all these schools, there is a huge influx of applications for 2025 fall, and also for 2026 spring and 2026 fall. So when I spoke to certain universities, they are asking me that how do we filter these things? There's a lot of influx. That is not coming into the foray. But the students who got impacted, yes, they got impacted. So quality students, genuine students,
if I have to ask 3 other countries apart from Australia, Australia it seems like a goner now, 3 other countries that still is lucrative, very welcoming and warm for Indians. A quick one.
I mean, if you are looking for only alternative options other than the US, then they were trying to go to Australia. If not Australia, then there are Europe and other things. Fundamental fabric is the same.
If you're defrauding you, then no country is a taker. Ambassador, a final word of advice from you.
My only advice, ma'am, and I think our consultant has spoken so brilliantly, he understands the system very well. Just follow the straight and narrow, walk the narrow path. Don't attempt to game the system, because this is the era of instant transfer of information. We do it all the time, ma'am. When I need to find out, I'm not talking about you, I need to find out somebody's credentials, we share information. I zap a message, back it comes that this guy is good, this guy is no good, stay away, etc. It's very easy to find out. My advice would be just follow the straight and narrow. Don't do tar your reputation, because once you are deported, for example, from any country, it doesn't matter where, you could throw away your passport, get a new one, etc. But the record remains, and it will pop up the moment anybody.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, the two of you. Really appreciate you joining us. And this is a message going out. It's not just about the students' reputation. India's reputation is also at stake. So follow due process and get in the right way.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're looking at a story that's now exploded on the internet where a Delhi University college principal pastes cow dung on the walls. That sparked a huge controversy. At Delhi University's Lakshmi Bai College, principal has sparked this bizarre controversy by coating classroom walls with cow dung, claiming that it keeps temperatures low and purifies the environment. Well, Principal Dr. Priti Sharma personally supervised the application of cow dung in some classrooms, citing Ayurvedic benefits and saying that it would keep students healthy and focused. Photos of her inspecting the smeared walls and doing it herself has now gone viral. Of course, the internet isn't entirely convinced, from calling it a medieval makeover to asking if DU is turning into a Gaushala. Critics now questioning whether this has any scientific basis or it's just another attempt to push pseudoscience in the name of culture. The principal, of course, stands firm, saying this is eco-friendly, traditional and effective. But here's the real question: does this really work, and should this kind of practice be part of our modern educational spaces? To discuss this, we have Dr. C.V. Sharma, educationist and professor of IGNO. We also have Ambika Bhargava, senior architect. And of course, we also will have an Ayurvedic doctor with us. But a quick word, let me start with the lady here, Ambika Bhargava, who's an architect. You know very well the material used to cool an environment or a room. Cow dung on the walls, what's your take?
So, good evening, sir. Thank you for having me here. So, it's been a very traditional method to paint the walls or to have the floors covered with cow dung since thousands of years. That's been practiced in the villages. And the thing is, earlier the walls were made of mud. So coating the mud walls with that cow dung paste was okay. But how are we going to justify that by painting the walls which are made of brick and concrete, and we also have a plastered walls? I don't think it's going to be as effective as the lady has thought it to be. So there had been so many practices which we thought would be very sustainable and eco-friendly in nature if we go back to our roots and find some solutions of sustainability. But I don't think we can go back and use such methods now if they are not at all acceptable by the users. So being an architect, we also try to respect the client's demands. And
just a quick question, Ambika. We see a car here that's covered in cow dung, an image of a car that's fully covered in cow dung. What science is this? Does it really cool down a hot surface?
I don't think the metal will allow that permeability or you know that the transfer of heat through a metal can be blocked using cow dung. And it's always like a personal choice for a person to have their own whims done through such things.
I mean, personal choice is one thing, and then enforcing it in a school classroom is another. Let's take you through those images of the principal there. But our educationist on the panel here, C.V. Sharma, your take on a method like this being adopted in a space of education when there's no concrete evidence in science?
Very rightly said, there is no concrete evidence. I know, traditionally we have been painting our walls with cow dung, but then just as Ambika ji said, that the wall was of mud and not of concrete. So, painting a concrete wall with cow dung in a college, I guess this is psychophancy. And I'm not surprised, in fact, because in the present circumstances and the milieu, many people are doing such things to be in the limelight and catch the attention of those who call themselves proponents of Hindutva or Bhartiyata. So, but this I would think is not a very right move to paint the wall, a concrete wall of a college with cow dung. I'm told and I read that the principal justifies it by saying that this is part of a research and the finding would come soon. This should not have come in public then. should that video of the principal painting the wall with cow dung be on the internet if it is not psychophancy and a media gimmick to attract the attention of those who believe or who wish to propagate or promote the Indian tradition.
Very
So
well
I
said.
don't think it is
Absolutely. If research is not out, then a video like this should not be out, especially from a principal. You know, you have lots of conversations on the internet where people claiming that those who pass out from this college wonder how well they will be placed in companies if this is the kind of education that they receive and whatnot. She's being vilified, some of them hailing the move, saying it's true, it's scientific. A final word from Dr. Samarth, who is an Ayurvedic expert, on exactly what are the benefits of cow dung.
Look, I am a very practical Ayurveda practitioner in Bangalore, and cow dung is called Gomaya in Ayurveda. Looking at it from a hygiene perspective, it is very well accepted. We use cow dung to prepare a lot of medicines such as bhasma. There is a good property for it to burn very well with a particular temperature of heat. The other thing is we also use certain gomaya in certain medicine preparations like Panchagavya Gruta, Mahapanchagavya Gruta. They're used in conditions like epilepsy and certain other mental health problems.